Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to my brand new Let's Play of The Elder Scrolls III Morrowind. Now, if you've been on this channel for a while, then you'll know that I attempted a Let's Play of this before, and I didn't get extremely far in terms of Morrowind. That Let's Play basically ended up being part of the main quest and the Morag Tong questline. Anyways, this is going to be my latest attempt, and it's going to be a little different from the old one. You see, last Let's Play, way back when, well, I had magic, and me using magic in it, it was mainly a supplemental thing. I would primarily be stabbing people with a dagger or something, and just use magic to buff my combat abilities. This is going to be a straight up mage playthrough, and I'll explain my character's background and history once we get to the actual character creation, because I have a minor one. Not a whole lot. And this is modded Morrowind, I should mention. I have installed a good number of mods through one of the collections over on Nexus Mods, just because I was too lazy to figure out how to make sure everything was working together properly and really wanted to play Morrowind. I just defaulted to a collection. But what I will say is, it's mostly graphical mods, actually. I have some stuff for adding additional weapons and armor. It's mostly like graphics, textures, and stuff like that. The one exception to that is I am running Tamriel Rebuilt, so you will see a bit of that as well. Furthermore, I should probably mention, I have never actually beaten Morrowind before. I played it plenty of times, but I mostly just tend to spend that screwing around and having fun exploring the world, rather than actually completing the main story, which I've never actually done. And the Morag Tong is the only guild quest line I've finished as of this moment. The last thing I want to mention is that this is being done in OpenMW. I'm using the Open Morrowind as opposed to default Morrowind, so hopefully there will be less issues with crashes and bugs than I had in the original playthrough. I'll leave a list of all my mods down below in the description of this video if you're interested. Anyways, let's get started and shut up for the cutscene, as we do not talk over the Morrowind opening cutscene.
They have taken you from the Imperial city's prison, first by carriage and now by boat. To the east, to Morrowind. Fear not, for I am watchful. You have been chosen.
Wake up. We're here. Why are you shaking? Are you okay? Wake up. Stand up. There you go. You were dreaming. What's your name?
And it doesn't matter how many times I watch that, Morrowind has one of the most incredible, epic openings to a story I've ever seen in a game. It really is just great. And as for our name, we are Terra. I wonder how many people are going to get this particular reference, as it is a reference to another game that I've been playing recently, though not on the channel, in my personal time, and that I'm rather fond of. So we'll see who figures out who this character is based off of.
I heard them say we reached Morrowind. I'm sure they'll let us go. Quiet. Here comes the guard.
This is where you get off. Come with me.
Alright. Mr. Guard, not causing any trouble here. I don't even know why I'm here. I was just a little plastered in the prison. They would have let me out tomorrow anyways. Or the day after I get put in. I don't even know what day it is anymore.
Head down to the dock and I'll show you to the census office.
Alrighty, if you say so.
But our records don't show who were.
Well, we have some mods that add in some races that technically don't exist, but no need to just go scrolling through that. We are a female Imperial. Let's see if I can find something approaching similar for the hairstyle. Not quite what I was going for, but it'll have to do.
Great. I'm sure you'll fit right in.
I can change that later if I find something better.
Finish your release.
And once we get in there, I will finally explain my character and backstory, because that feels like the best place to do it. Hello there.
Yes, we've been expecting you. You'll have to be recorded before you're officially released. There are a few ways we can do this, and the choice is yours.
I'm gonna create a custom class. We could answer the questions, but nah. It always gives me some really wonky, bizarre choice. Our specialization will be magic. And while I'm doing this, I will go ahead and start explaining our character's background and backstory. So, Terra is actually originally from Breville. She's the daughter of a couple of peasants. Nobody special, just a female Imperial peasant. So, not a whole lot to speak of there, really. But when she was really young, they found out that she had a talent for magic. Now, they found this out because one day her older brother wanted her to do one of his chores for him so that he could sneak off and have some adult fun with his girlfriend. And she didn't want to. She got really mad and upset and eventually set his hair on fire. Which is how her parents found out that she had magical talent. Which was bizarre to them because no one in their family had any sort of talent or ability when it comes to magic or spellcraft for a very long time. In fact, the last person in their family to have any sort of magical skill was her great-grandfather, who was a battle mage during some war or other. They don't exactly talk about it in much detail, so all she knows is during some war or another, her great-grandfather served as a battle mage in the Imperial Legion. And that's about as far as her knowledge extends. But anyways, as a result of that, they couldn't exactly keep Tara on the farm doing menial labor, when she could potentially burn down half the place if she got too upset. And besides, as her dad saw it, she has oodles of magical talent, so it'd be a waste to just keep her out here when she could be learning about stuff like this. And so they ended up deciding to send Tara off to the Imperial City to attend the Arcane University and learn all about magic. And she was there for a good 8 or 9 years, actually, and got reasonably proficient at the magical arts. But as it turned out, just pure magic was never really her thing. And she started to experiment on her own, combining magic with combat and training, and eventually badgered a couple of the guards to teaching her how to fight with a sword and shield, and how to properly wear light armor. Figuring that if she was going to be using magic, she was going to do it the smart way, and actually go around in a set of armor, rather than doing something like of the stupid variety that you see so many mages doing, and just going around in their normal everyday clothes into battle, and getting themselves cut in half by some orc wielding a giant axe or something. No, she was going to be smart about this. And that's what she did for a couple of years. Now, you might be wondering, with that sort of well-adjusted, generally reasonable approach to these sorts of things, how exactly did Tara end up getting herself locked in prison and shipped off to Morrowind? Well, that's a bit of a story. You see, yeah, and I should clarify, at this point, she's been brought over here for the main story of Morrowind. Tara is only about 18 or 19 years old, so relatively young in the modern sense of things, but in terms of medieval old world type sense, and especially for an Imperial, That's like a quarter of her life gone by already, essentially. But what happened is, one day, Tara got a missive from her home village that they'd been attacked by bandit raiders, and her father had been killed. So Tara obviously got very depressed by this, and that evening she went off to go and get drunk to forget about her problems. And unfortunately, Tara cannot hold her liquor at all. So she went off and got very, very intoxicated, to the point where some of the guards came to try to take her back to the university. Unfortunately, Tara was so drunk she thought she had convinced herself that one of them was trying to kill her, and so decked the captain of the Imperial City Guard clean in the face. Obviously, she was promptly arrested and taken off to prison. However, given that her only crime was being a little bit too drunk, she didn't actually get punished. They just put her in one of what I'd only describe as overnight cells to calm down and to work off and let her drunkenness wear off, basically. With the idea that they'd just release her in the morning and they could forget about the whole thing. The university had let the guards know of exactly what was going on, so they were more inclined to be lenient. And that was the plan. But then they got a message from the Emperor to put her on the next ship to Morrowind. No explanation, just an order and the royal seal of the Imperial House. So that's what they did, and here she is. And our class name will be Magi. And I'll just very quickly go over the list of class stuff in case you didn't watch it. Me playing with that while I was explaining our backstory. Our primary specialization is magic, with attributes in intelligence and personality. And my major skills are longblade, destruction, conjuration, restoration, and light armor, with some minor skill in block, mysticism, alteration, alchemy, and enchantment.
Very good. The letter
That's
that
us.
preceded you mentioned you were born under a certain sign. And what would that be?
Yes, as it happens, we were born under the sign of the Mage.
Interesting. Now, before I stamp these papers, make sure this information is correct.
And yes, that's all right. Born under the Mage.
Show your papers to the captain when you exit to get your release fee.
Yeah. Okay. Now, Tara is generally a good person and tries to follow the law, but having grown up poor, without a lot to her name, she does unfortunately have a tendency to see opportunities to add to her own pockets as worth the risk a lot of times, and is a little bit notorious for not necessarily thinking through her actions and doing things like this.
continue through to the next building and talk to Celisgravius.
What are you doing? Well, let your actions go for now, but once you're released, stuff like that will get you arrested again. And yes, that is my in-character justification for snatching the plate and having enough money to armor and equip myself. As well as the fact that I am about to take everything in this room that's not been nailed down and take it for my own. Well, except for the piece of paper, because paper's not worth much. It's paper, after all. Yeah. It's a little bit of a silly reason, but this early on, I really need the money. I will be keeping basically every book I find, however, because we like to consider ourselves a well-read individual and become as worldwide as is feasible. Given that, I want to be reading wherever possible. For now, we do have to pick things like this with lockpicks. Bit of coin there. Eventually, I would ideally like to learn some sort of unlock spell and not have to deal with that. But for now, not really an option. There we go. And let's just hope that nobody comes in here and looks and makes the connection that the prisoner they just let go took every little item in existence. And sorry, but I won't be reading the tutorial pop-ups. If you're that interested, you can read them yourself. If I'd found a mod to block all the tutorial pop-ups, they wouldn't be here, to be honest. I've read them enough times for it not to be worth it to me. First, let me take your identification papers. Thank you. Word of your arrival only reached me yesterday. I am Celisgravius, but my background is not important. I'm here to welcome you to Morrowind. Yes, you're in Morrowind. I don't know why you're here, or why you were released from prison and shipped here, but your authorization comes directly from Emperor Uriel Septon VII himself, and I don't need to know any more than that. When you leave this office, you are free. But before you go, I have instructions on your duties, instructions from the Emperor, so pay careful attention. Well, this is actually the first Terra's heard of the Emperor being the one who had her sent to Morrowind. She had a pretty good idea. She probably would have been let go fairly soon anyways, but the Emperor being involved, that is news to us. And what's this about duties you mentioned? This package came with the news of your arrival. You are to take it to Caius Casades in the town of Balmora. Go to the South Wall Corner Club and ask for Caius Casades. They'll know where to find him. Serve him as you would serve the Emperor himself. So I have a letter for you and a dispersal to your name. Report to Caius Casades in Balmora. I can't tell you where to find him, but you are to go to the South Wall Corner Club and ask for him. Someone there can direct you. Dude, you do realize that I haven't been in Morrowind for even an hour yet. How exactly do you expect me to know where Balmora is? Directions, please. Balmora is north of Sedanine. The road passes Pelagiad village and Fort Pelagiad, crosses a deep ravine, passes Fort Moonmoth, then turns west across the Odai River and into Balmora. The South Wall Corner Club is in southeast Balmora on the east side of the river. For more detailed directions, talk to Elone the Scout at Ariel's trade house here in Sedanine. But take my advice, you're new here. Take the Silt Strider to Balmora. Fast, cheap, safe. Cross the bridge and head east. Can't miss it. Silt Strider, you say? What are one of them when they're at home? Silt Striders carry passengers and cargo between settlements on Vardenfell. Fares depend on distance to be traveled. Silt Striders are giant insects. A compartment for passengers and cargo is hollowed from the creature's shell. The driver directs the beast by manipulating exposed organs and tissues. Silt Striders travel between Alderun, Balmora, Sedanine, Saran, Nisus, Molagmar, Margan, and North Landing near Vivek. Well, hollowed out shell of an insect sounds kinda nasty, but let's be honest.
Alright, I'm listening.
Probably had to deal with nastier shit on the farm. And that's it. We are officially in the world. Past the tutorial. It's time to talk to Fargoth. Are you the one that boat dropped off? Odd to see a boat arriving at that time of day. The Imperials treated you okay. I swear they took my ring. I swear one of the guards has it. I had it last week before their weekly Let's Shake Down Fargoth ritual. An engraved healing ring, heavenly heirloom of mine. You haven't seen it, have you? Okay, to be honest, Fargoth in the more Oblivion version is a lot more annoying, so there I can see them having a Let's Shake Down Fargoth ritual. But in base Morrowind, he just sort of exists. So I don't mind giving the ring back. Besides, there's a difference between availing ourselves of what resources are available to us and taking someone's family heirloom. One is just pragmatic, the other is being a dick. Yes, I found it here. You found it. Amazing. Thank you, thank you. You're now my favorite friend. I'll be sure to tell the others, especially my friend Ariel who runs the trade house here. Go see him. He'll be happy to see you now. And he has the ring now? We no longer do, which it's a nice ring to have, and it's very useful for getting some cheap and easy healing spells off. But we're not about to keep his family heirloom. Plus, giving it away does give us a nice discount at the local store here. Or we'll sell off all the stuff we pilfered. Welcome to Ariel's Trade House. I'm Ariel, publican and proprietor. Don't take what doesn't belong to you. You're a new face here. You want to buy from me? You have to barter. If you want a little advice for each new customers, just ask. Would you like to hear about our most popular potions? Our most popular scrolls? Oh, I forgot to install less generic NPCs, didn't I? I just remembered that. I'll have to fix that in between this and the next episode, because, dear Lord. Anyways, we have some stuff to sell. So that, I'm keeping the book. And the limeware platter, of course, you can have that. There. And I think we'll keep the ingredients. 251 gold. Let's see. Why don't you jack it up to 260? There we go. And what I want now is some light armor. Chitin is all he's got for that here, but it's good enough. Boots, cuirass, left gauntlet, left pauldron, gauntlet, right pauldron. He doesn't sell any greaves, unfortunately. Nor a chitin shield. It's a dagger of fortify a short blade for 30 seconds. Not much use to me, to be honest. Besides, we want a long blade. Let's see here. What have you got? Okay, I'm going to take an iron longsword. Not mean to accidentally unequip it there. We don't want a short blade for the time being. I might decide to look into learning how to do that later. Although, just as a backup weapon, I'm going to get myself a bow. Let's see if we can get him to jack down the price to 190. Yep. Easy as pie. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to just find somewhere to change. I'm not doing that in public in front of all these people.
What's your story?
Go ahead.
Well, everyone here's watching. I'm not changing clothes in front of these people. Don't be weird.
That's it. She's gone too far. I'll see her disgraced before the council. Yes.
Head on.
Who are you? Look like you could use a friend. Perhaps I can. Friend, I'd like you to help me recover some gold. That's right. See, I had a bad run of luck playing 9 holes and lost a bit of money. Normally I'd be fine. We can usually keep some gold in our pockets just from the money the locals pay us for protection. But I know some of them are holding out on me, especially that little fetcher Fargoth. He's come up light in the past couple of weeks when I've shaken him down, and I know he's stashing it somewhere. I'd like you to find Fargoth's hiding place. Okay, no, I've heard enough. I'm not even speaking to you any further. You're just a crook. And I will have nothing to do with it.
Well, I'm listening, so go ahead.
Wealth beyond measure.
Alone. Isn't that the lady we were told to ask for more detailed directions about getting to Balmora? That's right. District seat of House Laloon, the largest settlement. Good roads lead north from here to Balmora, and through Fort Pelagiad and Pelagiad Village. From Balmora, roads lead north to Aldaroon, through the town of Caldera. Maybe I'd better write down the directions for you. It's a long walk and a little confusing. In fact, while we're here, why don't you give us all the directions? Thanks for that. Now we can consult our notes if we need to know how to get there, because yeah, this is Siltstrider, but I'm considering just walking. It's a new land after all. It'd be nice to see what new stuff there is to check out. And now that I finally got a little privacy, I can put my armor on. Still don't have greaves, but the rest of it I'm all good for. Little bit of fire magic. Should probably get ready to use if there's trouble. That seems like a good one to me.
Yes, Cyrodiil? What do you want?
Nothing. Nothing. Let's go exploring a little, actually. See what the local area has to offer. And some mushrooms, of course. If this place is anything like the Mage's Guild or back in Cyrodiil, then they're going to want me to provide alchemical ingredients as a matter of urgency. I swear, like, half the stuff I did for the bloody Mage's Guild as an apprentice. This involved going into the forest, finding mushrooms for them. It was insane. I wouldn't be surprised if that trend repeated itself here. What in the fuck was that? Okay. A man who fell from the sky. An iron sword with some sort of spark enchantment on it. So, fancy clothes. I've never owned fancy clothes before. So, I'm gonna take them. If I need to look fancy for some reason, that's where I go to. And some sort of magic scroll. I'll have a closer look later. Looks like something to do with flight. And a book. Must be the man's journal. I believe I may have found the correct formula for the spell I am developing. With it, I will be able to travel great distances without the need to pay others for the service. If all goes well, I will test out a new spell tomorrow. I believe I have worked out all the possible complications. Will allow me to leap great distances, covering many hundreds of miles. Never before has one been able to travel in this manner, vaulting from the ground, sailing through the sky, all without that terrible disorientation of a spell of flying. The time is almost upon me. My research is finished, and all of my calculations are checked and rechecked. They laughed at me when I suggested this. Let's see who laughs after I leap to the top of their towers and scream out my success. What an idiot. Seriously. Jumping through the air hundreds of miles. And you never stop for 1 second to consider what happens when you have to come back down again. What an utter tool. What an utter tool. I don't know who that man is, or who he thinks, or what he thinks it was that made him so special, but he's an idiot. And probably deserved that. Going to go around claiming you have discovered a new method of flight like that, you'd better make damn sure you've crossed your I's and dotted your T's before you test it, or you can't complain when it kills you. Yeah, that would be heading out of the wilderness. I don't know what you are, mister. You're wildlife, but I want nothing to do with you. God. That was a bit trickier than I expected. Shouldn't have burnt myself without jogging everywhere. if I wanted to fight the locals. Well,
You have my attention.
things aren't going to be dull around here in Morrowind, that's for sure.
You have my attention.
And I think I'll stick around the local area for a bit. My fellow guildies back in Citadel used to talk about raiding dungeons for loot all the time. I never got what the appeal was personally, but hey. Seems like it pays well enough, so I'll have to see if there aren't any dungeons I can raid for loot around here. To pay the bills, if nothing else.